7 seconds, somewhere in this world, a child is born. Think about it. Every 7 seconds, as long as it takes you to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7. Every 7 seconds, at least according to the U.S. Census Bureau, a child in the U.S. embarks upon an incredible journey, one that all of us have begun. But if my research among African American Muslim communities over the past 10 years is any indication, if that child is an African American female Muslim who has reached adulthood, desires marriage, and wants to be married to a man who shares her faith and her ethnic and cultural heritage, she may, and I emphasize may, she may find herself with only 2 choices. 1, to remain single, and 2, to take a husband who at some time in their marriage may take another woman as his wife. The radical context of the United States has contributed to social, political, and economic disadvantages for Black people, and it has led to a lack of men ready and available for marriage. Now, I'm talking about a minority, but the interesting thing from my research was to note there are women who desire marriage and still feel that they must choose between being single or becoming a co-wife, entering into a multiple wife marriage and assuming an identity that can be validated only religiously. Now, many of us in this theater have been taught to view multiple wife marriage with great suspicion. Now, I hope today to begin in just a small way to disrupt that way of thinking, to encourage us to examine our own biases, our own presuppositions, and to expand our own understanding of a non-traditional form of marriage. To be a co-wife, to reside within a multiple wife marriage for followers of Islam is to hold membership in a marginalized community, one that is as misunderstood as it is largely invisible. Now, though a popular and often used reference, even appearing as you see on t-shirts and the labels of beer brands, polygamy more accurately refers to multiple spouses, husbands, or wives. In contrast, when a Muslim marriage features multiple wives, we are talking polygyny. Misunderstandings also emerge in the form of stereotypes about the men, about the women involved, their social awareness, their level of sophistication, their education, and most importantly, their freedom. Their freedom to choose this form of marriage for themselves or not, or even how to identify themselves. Interestingly, most of the women that I interviewed told me that they don't refer to themselves as polygynous. As one explained, I am monogamously married to one man. Only he has multiple spouses. To be clear, the historical practice of a husband with multiple wives is not the preferred form of marriage for most Muslims across the globe, nor for the estimated 1 to 2 million African American Muslims who reside in the United States. In fact, when most folks get married, they enter into heterosexual monogamous marriages, as do most Muslim Americans. The invisibility now under which most African American Muslim women live polygyny, is further complicated and largely marked by the limitations of our American legal system and by societal norms. And multiple wife marriage has been illegal in all 50 states until last year. Then, a U.S. District Court judge declared that the Utah law banning cohabitation was unconstitutional. In other words, persons of the opposite sex living together in a sexually intimate relationship but without a civilly legal marriage was no longer a crime. In effect, the decision decriminalized polygamy in Utah. This will be the focus of a class on polygyny next semester. In it, students will be introduced to multiple wife marriage from a global and religious perspective, and they will have to analyze different approaches to marriage and family development that distinguish Muslims from those who adhere to the beliefs of fundamental congregations that share historic roots to Mormonism. In the end, students will be on a journey that dispels the myth that a single form of polygyny exists in the United States, without denying the reality that far too many women experience abuse and harm in multiple wife marriage. Also grasp thoughtfully the multiple levels on which women who live polygyny can and do exercise agency. We need to come to grips with their concerns as they see them. For far too many people, polygyny is a questionable issue. We've seen in the past year how some people are wrestling and challenging even that. For all American Muslims, and that is upwards to 7 million of us, marriage and family life form the nucleus of daily life and worship. And they also serve as the social connectors that bind one generation to the next. Those who are living polygyny all in some way live quietly and civilly in disobedience, sharing a husband and making a marriage. Thank you.